understand a Vaishnava is a quite difficult task. It's very difficult to understand a Vaishnava. And even more difficult is to find a Vaishnava. That's why Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Manushyanam sahasrasu, out of thousands of men. Kaschit dadati siddhaye. Even those who are perfect in understanding of Brahman, very hardly one of these perfect people understand Krishna in full. So it's very rare to find Vaishnavas, pure devotees of Vishnu. I remember a story that Govinda Maharaj told me recently. When he wanted to live in India, in Vrindavan, he was coming from Canada and he was landing and visiting Mayapur first to ask blessings from the Vaishnavas. And he also heard that Sridhar Maharaj is almost leaving his body. So he went to Navadvip to ask for some blessings from Maharaj. Sridhar Maharaj is elder godbrother of Srila Prabhupada. So he went to Maharaj and asked him, Maharaj, can you please kindly bless me so I can go and live in the holy Dham? And if I have committed any offense, please forgive me. Sridhar Maharaj very humbly answered, there has been no Vaishnava aparat. There has been no Vaishnava aparat. Because I am not a Vaishnava. And he very humbly put his head down. And then he said, I daily pray to the dogs and the cows of Navadvip to bless me so one day I can become a Vaishnava. So to reach that level of Krishna consciousness, to be so humble in front of death, thinking himself non-Vaishnava, that's the qualifications of the preachers. Those who are paradukkha dukhi, always desiring the benefit of others, always trying to benefit those who are not awakened yet. That's the nature of the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Srila Prabhupada and his disciples, they have dedicated their lives to propagate this message of Krishna consciousness. Like Lord Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, there is no one more dear to me than the one that explains this science to my devotees. Lord Krishna has unlimited quantity of devotees. We have the Jewish tradition, we have the Christian tradition, we have the Muslim tradition. They're all devotees of Krishna. But the Vedic literature defines God so precisely, so clearly, especially the Vaishnava literature. So Srila Prabhupada came to the West and he inspired in the heart of this young generation, and they dedicated completely to fulfill the desires of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was able to expand the name of Lord Krishna in every corner of the world and to establish this international society of Krishna consciousness. It was done mainly by his Western disciples. This was like the arrangement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these devotees who have dedicated their life to the propagation of the holy name, they are very dear to Srila Prabhupada, very, very dear to Nitai Gaurange, very dear to Advaitacharya, very dear to the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. So when you already become dear to your Guru and dear to Krishna, is commit offenses against these devotees is the mad elephant offense. To plant the seed of bhakti and to let grow the plant of bhakti. This is something that has to be done with so much care through our ears, because the process of bhakti is hearing and chanting, sravanam kirtanam. So if I'm not hearing about Krishna and the glories of his devotees, if I'm not chanting about Krishna and the glories of his devotees, but I'm inverting, I'm criticizing his devotees, then automatically this garden in the heart gets completely destroyed. So it's very dangerous, the offenses to the devotees, and we see through the Vedic literature. When we have a material vision and we see the devotees with a material vision, we cannot understand a Vaishnava. So it's also explained in the Vedas. Archa Vishnu Shilavir, when we think that the deity of Vishnu is just a stone, Shila, or Gurushu Naramatir Vaishnava Jati Buddhi, when we think that the Guru is an ordinary person, that person has the mentality of hellish mentality. When we see the Guru as an ordinary person and the deity as a stone, because we are seeing with our material vision. The Guru is dear to Krishna, is completely dedicated to Krishna. In the case, for example, here in Almaty, I know Chaitanya Chandra Charan Prabhu, my dear God brother. With his little bag and his simplicity, he's walking around Russia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, explaining the science of Krishna consciousness, how dear this devotee is to his Guru Maharaj, to Srila Prabhupada, to Guru Parampara, and to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We will never be able to comprehend how dear he is. Because with his simplicity, he's moving around with his sneakers, through train stations, away from home, away from everything, preaching, riding, chanting, eating a little bit of prasadam. His life is very simple. So these kind of devotees, they are already on another level. And when we commit offenses to them, Krishna don't forgive. For example, Daksha. Daksha was also an advanced spiritual personality. He is a Prajapati, and even better than many of us, devotee of Vishnu, Daksha. And his daughter was Sati, the wife of Lord Shiva. But Daksha committed offenses to Lord Shiva. He took him as an ordinary person. Why? Because Lord Shiva was in the crematoriums. He associated with ghosts, with pretas, pramatas, because he's helping them. So he saw him as an ordinary person, not as an Aryan, as high class. So because he committed offenses against Lord Shiva, everything got destroyed. Was the marriage of one of his daughters, was a great celebration, great demigods came, was an incredible party. But because Daksha didn't respect properly Lord Shiva, then such a terrible calamity happens. And the most important part of this story is the Sati was present and the father just burst some nasty words against her husband. So because she heard these words, these offenses, she felt that this body is useless. She's the daughter. He thought, you have said things that are burning me inside. So I'm going to burn this body to ashes. I'm not your daughter anymore. Because in the scripture it said, or you convince the other person of his false arguments, or you cut his tongue, or you kill yourself. So Sati just manifests fire from her heart and burned her body to ashes because she heard the offenses. So it's very dangerous that out of curiosity, like they say, curiosity killed the cat. That's 100% truth. By curiosity, people want to be hearing about offenses towards devotees. Curiosity going through the internet, the pages, what he said, oh, I don't believe. They let these offenses go into their heart, then creates doubts and creates more offenses. This is the material vision. So we have to take the instructions from the scriptures. We have to see these examples. So because Daksha committed offenses to Lord Shiva, then he lost his own head. Even though he was a spiritual personality, because Lord Krishna don't forgive. So Vaishnava Aparada is something so great. It's something that we have to be very careful about it. Even though Daksha was a religious man, he had to pay. We have another stories like Chapal Gopal. Chapal Gopal was supposed to be like a brahmana, so he was thinking that Srivas Thakur is just a grihasta. He's married, he's a grihasta, what qualification he has. But Srivas was becoming very famous in the community of Vaishnavas in Navadvip because Lord Chaitanya loved Srivas. And because Lord Chaitanya was going to perform Sankirtan in his house. So he preferred the house of Shivas than any other place to perform his Sankirtan. So was showing so much love and appreciation for Srivas Thakur. The Chapal Gopal, he became envious. This is one of the characteristics of people, even in a spiritual life, that when we see that someone is progressing in Krishna consciousness, is becoming famous, then envy arises. And we want to curtail, we want to stop that fame from certain devotees. The Lord Krishna himself makes his devotees famous so that people can be attracted and then they can receive the message. So in this case, Chapal Gopal, he called all the people of town. And before that, he had prepared some paraphernalia for worshipping Durga. And he put in the doorsteps of the house of Srivas Thakur. He said, look, you see, he's not a Vaishnava, he's worshipping Durga. And when Srivas Thakur came out and saw, he said, yes, I'm worshipping Durga. He was not affected by this offense. He said, yes, I am a low-class person. He never worshipped Durga. He respects Mother Durga. He don't worship. But Lord Chaitanya didn't forgive this offense. Lord Vishnu and the Haras Paramarma didn't forgive this offense to his devotee. And immediately Chapal Gopal got leprosy. And because he was with leprosy, you have to remove that person because it's very contagious. So he was sent to the banks of the Ganges. And he was there with pieces of cloth, sobbing and crying, because he immediately understood, I had this leprosy because of my offenses to Srivas Thakur. One day Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was running, chanting the name of Govinda. And Chapal Gopal saw him and he asked, my dear Lord, please forgive me for my offenses. And Lord Chaitanya said, I will never forgive you because you have offended my devotee. So Chapal Gopal, very remorsefully, he remained even more deeply conscious of his offenses. Later on, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed again, he said, you can ask forgiveness for Srivas. If he forgive you, then I will forgive you. So he asked forgiveness for Srivas Thakur. Srivas Thakur said, you have not committed any offense. And immediately his body became healed and became a great devotee of Srivas Thakur and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these examples are there for us to follow. Excuse me. Similarly is the story of Gopal Chakravarti. He was a very beautiful brahmana. You know, he was paka, he was full of regalias from a very high class family. But he committed offenses against Haridas Thakur, saying he is a Muslim, that he don't deserve any kind of position. Immediately he had leprosy. His beautiful nose fell off, his beautiful fingers were like a lotus hands. They start falling off. And he was rejected by society. He had to ask forgiveness to go back to his position. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we have the story of Durvasa Muni, another great spiritual personality. But he committed offenses, a great Vaishnava. Why? Because he is a king, he's materialistic. He is married, has many wives and children. So who is this person? So would Durvasa Muni commit offenses? Because Ambarish Maharaj, and then the Sudarshan Chakra was following him around the universe. And even Vishnu himself didn't stop him. He has to go and ask forgiveness to the devotee. So offenses create so much pain and trouble to the living entity. We go again into the cycle of samsara. We don't want to hear offenses because we also can fall into that. Look, for example, the Lord Krishna himself arranged it when he wanted to leave this world after Kurukshetra. He arranged it that one of his grandchildren commit offenses against the sages. Because of the offenses, the whole Yadu dynasty was wiped out. The son of Pradyumna, Samba, went with other youngsters, where was Parvata Muni, Narada Muni. Because they were great astrologers, they came and said, oh, sages. Samba has been dressed with a sari like he was a lady. And he had hidden here a big mace like he was pregnant. So great sages, you know the past, the present, the future. Can you tell us if this is going to be a boy or a girl? So Parvata Muni, Narada Muni are looking at them, these insolent children, they're committing such offense that whatever you're carrying in your womb will be the cause of the destruction of your whole dynasty. So then the youngsters became aware. They went to the king, they told what had happened. So the king was so afraid that the sages have cursed the dynasty. They say, you have to crush this iron mace to powder and throw it in the ocean. And they did. But from this powder of iron mace grow bamboos that were like as hard as iron. And then one day, from a little fight, started a big fight between the Yadus, and all of them were annihilated. This tendency of hearing offenses, this is Kali Yuga, is the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. To serve a personality is so much more easy when the personality is present. Like when Srila Prabhupada was present, the devotees were offering personal service. So all the disciples of different gurus in ISKCON, they have the opportunity now that the spiritual master is present to offer respect and service to the guru. But if instead of doing that, they pay attention to nonsense created by minds who are basically envious or who are captured by Kali. Kali is always trying to discredit this movement because it's the only movement who's going to save humanity. There is people, they are even not even Vaishnavas, who are always writing things against, just to incitate fire. And that's why many people bloop, like we said. So personally, I never like to hear offenses of nobody. I don't like even when the first word of someone says, you know, Prabhu, that's, I don't want to hear it, thank you very much. I don't have to listen. If I am a temple president, I have to deal with a particular issue, maybe I want to do that. But if I have nothing to do with it, why I want to hear it? That's the curiosity. The curiosity killed the cat. So my dear wife, never be curious of the offenses towards others. We have to see that the Lord Krishna loves his devotees more than anything. And he protects his devotees. So the devotees are never in danger. And the devotee is dedicated to spread the message of Krishna. He's never in danger. He's always protected by the Lord. But sometimes looks like he's in danger. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself was criticized by so many. But he was never in danger. When he was in South India, where the Buddhist priest was envious of his luster, of his beauty, his attraction, he was there in South India, and a Buddhist priest saw the beauty of Mahaprabhu, and all these disciples, all these Buddhists, they were attracted to Mahaprabhu. So he became envious and poisoned the food of Mahaprabhu. And he offered him a big plate with food that was poisoned. An eagle came, picked up the plate, lifted in the sky, and dropped the plate from high and fell into the head of the high priest, knocking him up immediately. So the Lord is always protected, and the devotees are always protected. But what's going to happen to the ones who are offending, and those who pay ears to these offenses? It's just a question of time for this to take place. It's just a question of time. Mad Bhakta Pujajaibika. Lord Krishna says to Uddhava, those who say they are my devotees, they are not my devotees. Those who are devotees of my devotees, they are my devotees. So it's a great opportunity to be able to serve another devotee. It's a great opportunity to have consciously the desire to serve another devotee. We should never throw this opportunity away. What the people are going to do? They're going to try to become disciples directly of Prabhupada. So not only Prabhupada is pure. If Srila Prabhupada was pure, it means he's Chintamani. Chintamani means that he's the touchstone. Whatever he touches, he transforms it into Chintamani too, into gold. So the purity of Srila Prabhupada makes his disciples into Chintamanis too. If you think that his disciples are not pure enough, Prabhupada was not pure enough. It's very simple mathematics. A pure devotee transforms others into pure devotees. If Prabhupada was unable to create pure devotees, so he is not a pure devotee. And this is not the case. This Krishna conscious movement will continue for 10,000 years by the grace of Gaurange Mahaprabhu and his devotees. So we have to learn how to give up this false ego and bow down to the devotees. If we don't bow down to nobody, we bow down to our mind. The mind is mana, and these bad habits of the mind are manias. Then we become demoniac. Because when we become offensive, we lose our good qualities and we fall. That's why the worst Rakshasa is the Brahma Rakshasa, the Brahmana who becomes offensive. So I don't want to think in the next life of those who are offensive to the devotees. I don't want to think in that. I just know that by false ego, the tendency to be envious towards others who are becoming better has been manifested many times. The only thing that we can do ourselves is to remember the offenses to the holy name. First and number one, to offend the devotees who have dedicated their life to the propagation of the holy name. To offend these devotees, we pay reactions. Even if the wife offends a devotee who is dedicated, she will pay reactions, and that's why they suffer. When you see a devotee who his life is to explain Krishna consciousness to others, and this devotee has the ability to explain and to give faith in Krishna, we have to serve this devotee. And like these things flow in harmony. So it takes a very sincere soul to leave all pride behind, to leave all desires behind, and just travel and preach. So there's two kinds of Vaishnavas. You have the Vajanananti and the Goshtyanantis. Many devotees who live in holy dhams, when the temples dedicated to maintain the temple and maintain their bhakti. This is wonderful. Vajananandis. Constantly bhajan, always worshipping. Bhajamana hore Srinandanandana avaye charanaravidare. My dear mind, please bhajan, please worship the lotus feet of Nanda, the son of Nanda. That's perfect. That's the majority of Vaishnavas in the past. But with Srila Prabhupada, you have these Goshtyanandis, Vaishnavas who are traveling all over the world, preaching and explaining this Krishna consciousness. So these are very, very dear. And if we cannot recognize that, it's because Maya has covered, our pride has covered. Nowadays, a lot of competition, who is doing more. That's not Goshtyanandi. This is more like desire for fame, for distinction, for followers. And the followers, they're not going to be advanced also. They're going to be just fans, fanatics. But those who are sincere, those who have bhakti in their heart, they can transmit bhakti to their disciples. And that's the case of Chaitanya Chandra Charan Prabhuji. I have so much love and respect, and I am somehow or other, if I am able to transmit my appreciation for my God brother, and also to transmit how much love and pride my Guru Maharaj, Jagtaka Swami Maharaj Silacharyapada has for his disciple, who is spreading Krishna consciousness far and wide. So we don't have to wait until these devotees leave this world to understand who they are. Now is the time to understand. Om Tat Sat.